Alright, so welcome back again. My name is Jesse, and in this wonderful tutorial, we're trying to see how to build a very simple app in Streamlit for extracting emails and then phone numbers as well as URL. So let's see what we're building. So in case you want to extract emails of a particular profession or a particular person, one of the ways is to use Google. So in that case, just go with the particular profession or the person plus the location and then plus the type of email you want. So if I go with this particular search, Google is going to generate this wonderful search for us, right? So in case I want to get all the emails, I'll just copy the entire stuff from here. So let's copy this, about 20 of the results, right? Then let's copy it, Control C. Then I'll paste it inside my app. So if I paste inside this app here, I'll be able to extract all the various emails within them. So if I go back to the sidebar here, and I'll specify the particular type of stuff I want. So in case I want to get emails, automatically can see that all the emails in our result here from Google has been extracted, right? Very nice. I can also add other stuff like, let's say I want to get all the phone numbers, then it's going to give me all the phone numbers within our results, right? Within our results return. Perfect. I can also come back down and then get this entire result as a data frame, which is downloadable. So you can see that just giving us a very nice data frame with all the results. And then I can download the result here, right, by clicking on the click here. Very nice. So that is a very simple app you're trying to build from scratch. In case you don't want to go through the long process of going to Google to do this here, right, this particular command here, you can also do it within the app by coming back again to the home session. If I go back to the home session, I'll be able to do the same thing, right? So instead of me going to Google to do that, I can just type in the particular term. So let's use a term like, let's call it as engineers, right? Engineers. Then I want to specify the country, so let's use US. So I'll just change the country from here to United States, USA. Then I'll specify the particular type of email I want. So let's say I want Yahoo Mail, I want Gmail. Let's use Gmail, which is popular. Then I can specify the number of results. So the number of results per page is really based on here, right? So we have page 1, page 2. So I want 100 results. So I can specify that particular value here. Then I'll specify what I want. So I want emails, I want phone numbers, and I click on search. It's going to use this particular generated query, engineers in US, and then their Gmail. It's going to generate this wonderful result for us, as you can see. So these are all emails of engineers in US, and then I can get it, which is quite a lot. Wow, over 100 of them. Then I can also get the phone numbers. I can also add URLs in case I want here. That's going to also extract the URLs for us together, right? Very cool. So I go back with search, you can see that result. So that is a very simple app you're trying to build from scratch using Streamlit, pandas, and then NeatText, right? So this same thing you have gotten, you can also get it as a data frame down here. Very nice, right? With the email column, the phone numbers column, and then the URL column. Then you can download this result, right? Very cool. So that is a simple app you're trying to build. After that, you can also come back to the analysis session, in which you can view every email that has been used on this particular app, right? So that in case in the future you want it, you can get a database of all the emails that has been used together with, which is quite a lot, right? Wow, about 600 of them, right? Together with the logs, right? So in case I want to get the logs, so these are all the search terms that have been used within the apps, and the time, and then the person, the page that was visited. Very cool and very nice. So now let's see how to build this app from scratch. So the basic workflow we'll be using in this wonderful app is that we'll be using this particular workflow. We'll be having 2 sessions of the app, right? Or it can be 3 sessions. So the first one is going to be a place in which you can copy and paste any text that has emails, URLs, phone numbers. Then when we paste it within the app, we can extract the emails, we can extract the URLs, we can extract the phone numbers using regular expression or NeatText, right? Or Python and pandas. Then we're going to convert the result into a downloadable result using pandas. You can also, the next section of the app is going to be whereby you can generate a query, then be using request to fetch that query, then you follow through the same process of extracting the email, URL, and then the phone number. So let's see how to build this app from scratch. So I'll go back to my terminal. This is the old app, so let's stop this old app, and then let's get out of this place, and let's create a folder. I'm going to call this email app, right? So inside my email app, app there. It's supposed to be email app. There's nothing here, right? So I'm going to create a file, attach app.py. Then I'm going to be opening my location. So I'm going to open this particular place using Sublime. You can also use the VS Code in case you want. Then you start writing some code. So whilst it's opening, let's stop this one up, right, so that we can still use that particular port. So the app is working perfectly well. Going to open Sublime, test, then you use it to work. So in case you don't have Streamlit, you can just install it with pip install Streamlit, and then you're using pandas, and then you're using NeatText. So this package is very simple packages: Streamlit, pandas, and then NeatText. Right, perfect. So this is the app.py file, and there's nothing here, right? Let me close off this. So the package we need is we need Streamlit, pandas, and then NeatText. So in case you don't have it, you can just use this particular command to install it on your system. Perfect. So let's do the mockup of the app. So we'll be importing our core packages as we always do. Then we'll also be importing our EDA packages. So let's import our core packages to be using Streamlit. So import Streamlit as st, then import Streamlit component .component.v1 as stc. You can call it as component if you want. Then you'll be importing pandas as pd. Then you'll be importing NeatText. So import NeatText.functions as nfs. So NeatText is going to be used to help us with our regular expression aspect. Then I'll just create my main app, which is going to be an email extraction Streamlit app, right? Streamlit app, something like that. Very simple. Then let's create our choice. We always create our menu. So the menu is going to be having 3 sessions. We have our home session, we have our bulk extractor, but let's create a single extractor first, then another one for the bulk extractor, and then finally we will just work with about. So later on we add the analytics to it in another video, right? Perfect. So that is something very simple. Then what we need to do from here is that we need to also create our choice, as we always do. It's going to be st.sidebar.select box my menu, and then the menu. Very simple. Then I'm going to say that if the choice is equal to home, I want you to pick the home session, right? So st.subheader. So inside the home session is going to be for searching and then extracting. So you can be able to search, generate a query, and then extract a term. Else if the choice is equal to a single extractor option. So this, in this case, you can actually extract one particular stuff, right? So st.subheader. So you can extract, let's say, a term, a single term. So it can be either a URL, email, or a phone number, right? I hope the audio is okay. And the final one is going to be else if my choice is equal to bulk extractor, which allows you to be able to extract things in bulk, right? So st.subheader bulk extractor, right? Then let's close it with an else st.subheader about. Something very simple. Now let's close the app using an if main to help us close it. Perfect. So that is a basic understanding. So we have our core packages here, we have our EDA packages, then you have the main app here, right? You can also break them into pieces as we learned previously, but let's move on with one monolithic, then later on we see how to refactor them. So let's open the app. So I'll go back to the same location that the app is. Now use Streamlit, run app.py. You can also add logs to it to be able to see the logs, right? So you can also do the same thing from this particular place. So whilst it's opening, let's position our stuff beside it. So I'm going to position them. So it has already opened. So it's opening on port 02. See, like you can see from here that it has opened here, right? So but I will not be using Mozilla, we'll be using Chrome as we always do. Paste in the code here, the URL, this particular URL, and bring it beside it. and then let's put them beside it, right, as we always do. So we see that we have our 3 sessions, our home session, our single extractor, bulk extractor. So let's work on the single extractor aspect of the app. So as the workflow is, we are going to be having an option in which we can paste in a test, right, inside the app. Then you can extract these respective stuff: email first, URLs, and then phone numbers. So that's what we're trying to do. So I'll go back again. Let's create our test area. So it's going to be my test area, st.test area. It's going to be paste test here, so paste test here, right? Then I'm going to create my tax option. So the tax option is going to give us the option of selecting that email, URL, or phone numbers, right? So sidebar dot select box, let's call this my tax, which is going to take a list. So this list have the emails, in case I want to get all emails, in case I want to get URLs, and then the final one in case I want to get phone numbers, right? So if I save this one now, you're going to see that inside under my single extractor option, we can have it here, right? So emails, URLs, and then phone numbers. Perfect. So let's create a button. So it's going to be if st.button, let's call the button extract, right? Then inside this particular place, let me bring it up. Under this particular button, that is where we're writing some code. So what we'll be doing, that you'll be saying that if the tax option is equal to emails, right? If the person select emails, I want you to extract emails. So we call that my result. Then I'll just go straight away with NeatText. So we'll be using NeatText to help us with that. So NeatText.functions. So with NeatText, you can do a lot of things. If I go back to my terminal, let's go with ipython 3, and then we'll be trying to see how to use NeatText. You can also use regular expression, but NeatText make it very easy for us to be able to do the same thing we can do with regular expression, right, out of the box. So we're using NeatText to help us with that. So I'll go back and I'm going to import NeatText.functions as NFS, right? Then if I check for the various methods and attributes of this particular package, we can do some interesting stuff. So among them is that we can actually extract emails, right? There's a function to extract emails from test. There's another function to extract phone numbers, right? There's another function to extract URLs, right, out of the box. So we're trying to use these 3 functions to extract these particular terms. So I'll go back to the app. Then I'll go with NeatText.functions extract emails, and I pass in my test, right? Now let's write it out. So st.write the result that we have. If I save it and I come back to the app itself, so let's go with always run. Bring myself down here. Okay, so now this is it. So let's paste in our test. So we had this particular test from here. So I'll copy this test again. So let's copy it, and then we store inside a particular file so that we can be able to use it, right? Let's go up and select everything. I'll copy this one, then I'll paste it inside the app. So now if I paste it here, I click on extract. By default, it's using the email, right? That's automatically extracted all the emails, right? Very, very cool and very nice. So just using NeatText, we have been able to extract all the emails. Very nice. I can also change it from here and then move on to, let's say I want to get all the URLs. Extract. If there are URLs, going to bring them out. It looks like there are no URLs. There is reference because we have not done anything there. That's why it's giving us this error. So if I go back here, there's nothing there, right? Okay. So that is a very cool stuff you have done. So let's come back and paste that particular test here. I'll create another file option, paste it here so that we can use this one as reference. So I'll come back again, then I'll work on the other aspect of it. So we have seen how to extract emails. Now let's see how to add the next option. So else if the tax option is equal to URLs, I want you to do the same thing using NeatText.extract URLs. Now pass in the test, right? Then I'll repeat the same thing. So else if the tax option is equal to phone numbers, right? Then I'll do the same thing. So result is equal to nfs.extract phone numbers. I'm passing my test, right? So that is something very simple. So if I go back now, the app is going to work. It's no more going to break. So let's go back to here. This is the one that we're using. Perfect. If I run it, it's going to identify the changes. So using the same test that we had. So let's go back to the single extractor. I'll paste in the test that we had. Extract. We can get all of them as expected, right? Very cool. So if I go back and I change it from emails to URLs, so we're going to get the URLs there. Hopefully there are URLs within them. I think that it's able to identify some of the URLs, but you can change the regular expression to use your own, right? Let's check for the phone numbers. Extract phone numbers. So these phone numbers are all going to appear there, right? Very cool. I see that this number is here. So that is a very nice feature. So now let's see how to make it better. So this one we use if else. So we have to close it. So let's change this one from here and make this one the last one, right? So that it becomes if it is URLs, extract URLs. If it is phone numbers, extract phone numbers. Else, right? So that by default it's always going to extract emails, right? So that is a closed function. Now the next option is that you're going to try and see how to convert the result into a data frame, right? So how do we do that? So I just come back again and use a simple beta expander. So st.beta expander. Now passing so let's result as data frame, right? Then I'm going to create an option of using pandas to convert the result into a data frame. So it's going to be my data frame. So let's go to result df, then pd.dataframe from pandas here. Now passing my data frame. So it's going to be a dictionary. It's going to be the result. Now passing the result that is coming there, right? Perfect. So now I can just preview it to data frame from using Streamlit data frame. Now passing my results df, right? So if I save it and I come back to the app itself, let's go with always run. So you said we're going to have an option. If I extract, you can see that from here we have result as data frame. Then you can also see it also. Let me expand it. See, we have it perfectly. All right, cool. So we are done with the app. So the next option is to add the download option. So we have seen how to copy and paste into Streamlit, get these particular features using NeatText. Now let's see how to convert the result into a downloadable CSV, right? So I'll come back again. We are building one part of the app, then we duplicate it for the rest, right? So let's see how to work with the download. So I'll be using a simple function to help us with that. So I'll go back to the top of my file. Now I'll copy and paste these particular packages. So I'll call it as utils. So I'll be importing base 64, right? Then also import time to help us with our creating a timestamp on our file. So these are the ones. So let's create a function called make downloadable. So I'll paste the function to save us time. So let me paste the function. So I'll paste the function here. So now I'll explain the function. So the function is that we are going to create a simple time string, right, using time, and then this is the format of the time that we want, a timestamp. And creating two functions. So one to make it downloadable, and one to make it a downloadable data frame with the name on it, right? So this one is that we're just going to convert our data into a CSV file, right? Then we'll be passing it over the wire using base 64, converting it to base 64 encoding. Then we decode it. Then we'll send it over the wire and over the link via HTML, right? Very simple. Then we're able to download it. So this is a simple function which we have been using over and over again. So the same thing is being used here, right? Perfect. So the only difference is that inside here we are passing in the particular type, right? If the person selected email, you want to tell him that he extracted emails. If the person extracted phone numbers, we want to tell the person that he extracted phone numbers, and then the timestamp. So let's come back, see this one, come down here and apply that particular function here. So this is going to be my make downloadable file. and I pass in the result of the particular data frame, and then the tax option. So let's save it and come back again to the app. So let's extract. So to give us a result, let's use emails, so phone numbers. Then let's extract it. It's working as expected. If I go down here, result as data frame, we are going to have our emails, right? And then we see that we have the option of downloading result. If I click on this, now it's going to come perfectly well. So we see that from here, extracted emails result, right? That is something very cool, something very nice. So we are done with the app, the main aspect of the app. Now in the next session, I'm trying to see how to work on the bulk extractor and then the home, right? So the basic workflow is that we just created an option of copying and paste stuff. Then we are using NeatText and then pandas to help us extract our text and then convert it to CSV and to make it downloadable. Let's move on to the next option of the bulk extractor. I'll come back again to the bulk extractor. We're repeating the same thing there to make, because it's almost the same idea, right? Since you have gotten the concept behind it. So I'll come back again to the bulk extractor. And then for the bulk extractor, we're given the option of pasting a text like we did above. So I'll copy this one here. I'm going to copy this option here, right? The same thing here. Let's copy this. And then let's work on the bulk extractor option. Right? Perfect. So the same thing, if I go back and I check it, everything is working as we want it to be. So the bulk extractor allows us to be able to extract in bulk, like emails together with, let's say, phone numbers or URLs together, right? The first one was just single, but you want to put them together so that you can be able to use it. So I'll come back again. Let's take off this and let's see how to work with it. So this is what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my tax options, right? Let's make tax option as we did. st.sidebar.multi-select. This time we are using multi-select. Now pass in the tax that I want. Then I'll pass in my options. So we have option of emails, but let's make it in the format of a list here before. So I'm going to call it as my tax list. Right, then I'm going to create in my tax list, which is going to be my emails. The next one is going to be URLs as we did, and the next one is going to be my phone numbers. Right, now pass it here, my tax list here. Perfect. So that is all. Now if I go back and I save it, if I check the sidebar, we have the option of selecting all of these things here. So we can choose an option. So emails, URLs, and the phone numbers. So let's give a default option. So the default is going to be emails, right? So that by default it's going to automatically select emails for us. So it's going to be the default, right? Perfect. So that it doesn't crash. Okay, so we are done with that. Now let's see how to work with it. I'm not going to bring a button, but we're just going to go straight away and then specify what we want to extract. Okay, so let's see how to work with it. So I'm going to create a task mapper. So let's put a task mapper, right? Which is going to have a dictionary in which we'll be using this same function that we had. Remember that we had these particular functions, right? So we'll be using these particular functions within a simple dictionary, that if the person select that particular text, it will automatically pick that particular function, right? So this is a simple way of working with. I'm going to call it as a mapper, and let's give it a name. So let's call it as emails, right? Right, if the person select emails, then I want you to use NeatText.function. Now pass in my test, my extract emails. Now pass in the test there, right? So it's going to be picking the function per the dictionary, right? The another one is going to be my URLs, which is going to be the same thing. So NeatText.functions dot extract URLs. Let's come back again. In case you have any questions or contribution, you can just put it inside the comment section below. Then I'll pass in my test again. Then the final one is going to be the phone numbers, right? So NeatText.functions phone numbers, and I'll pass in my test, right? So this is a simple way of running multiple functions using a dictionary. Okay, so that is something simple. I'm going to say that let's create a result or the result, right? A list, and we're going to put them there. I'm going to say that for tax in my tax options, right? For tax in my tax option, should you call it tax options? No, let's make it like that, tax option, so that it matches with the previous one. Result is going to be my tax mapper, the dictionary, and I'll pass in that particular task, right? So this is going to automatically pick this one and then execute this one, right, out of the box, right? Very cool. Now let's go with getting the result out. So let's print the result out first. So st.write the result so that you see that it's working. So I'll save it and then let's check it out. So we have it here. So let's paste in our test. So I'll paste in the test we're working on, copy this one and then paste it here, right? So automatically it's using email. So if I go back and I choose, let's choose another one, so URLs, so now it has automatically selected it for us, as you can see. So we have all the emails selected and then there were no URLs. Let's use phone numbers. So it's automatically going to identify them, extract them perfectly for us, right? So that is out of the box, right? Very cool. So what is this doing? That anytime I call any particular function, I select any option, it's going to check the dictionary, pick that particular stuff here, and then execute this function, right? Very cool. So this is a simple way of running multiple functions. Instead of doing if this, right? You are just doing it in a simple way like this, right? This is reducing the code. Okay, now let's move on to putting the result into a data frame. So I'm going to append the result into a data frame. Let's see an example. So it's going to be this. So all result dot append that current result, right? Perfect. So this is going to convert everything into a data frame. So if I go back and I go with st.write, let's pass in the all result. So let's take off this because we don't need it again. So the app is still going to work, going to give us a result back again, right? So that it's still giving us the result, right, in the format of a list, right? So we'll be converting this list of a list into a dictionary. So let's see how to work with it. So just do it with st.beta expander, pass in result as what? Data frame, as we did above. Then we're going to do the same thing. So be repeating the same code we did here. So result data frame, and we're going to make it downloadable, right? That is the same thing. So I'll just come back again. Mind you, this is just all the result without headers. It's going to be result data frame pd.dataframe from pandas, and I'll pass in all the results. Very simple, right? So how do we get the column header, right? So to be able to get a column header, we can just do this option. So let me show you first. So st.dataframe, pass in the result. So let's save it and let's see what you have done. So I'll expand this one. If I come down here, we have the beta expander. If I click on it, you see we have all of them here. But looking at this, it is going this way, right? So all the emails are on one column, and it's a very long data frame, which we don't want. We want it to be transposed, right? Vertical. We want to be this way, not this way, right? So how do we do that? So we just transpose them using pandas. So pandas has a function of converting, reshaping them. So if I bring .t here, it's going to transpose the entire stuff. And if I check it back again, so now it has changed it from this way, right? The horizontal to vertical, right? Very cool, right? So this is what we need. This is how we need it to be. But you realize that there are no column headers. So how do we get the column headers? So be appending our tax list there. So in that case, I can just come back again to this place. We just use the T to transpose them, right? I'm going to say that my result dataframe dot columns. I'm going to equate this particular columns to the particular options that have been selected here, right? Tax option. So I'm equating it to the tax option that is the person selected here, right? This particular tax option, right? To tax option, right? So that we automatically, so if the person select 2, it's automatically going to give us 2, right? Very cool. That is all. So if I save it and I come back and I check it out, then now it is there, right? If I go back to the sidebar and I ignore the URLs because there was no result for the URLs, instead of automatically it's going to make it 2, right? Very cool. And now we are going to make this one downloadable. So how do we do that? We're going to repeat the same code we did above here. The same code, right? Very cool. So I'll copy. This is the same function we are using. So just go use this particular function, make downloadable data frame as we did above. So I'll call it here. And I'll pass in my result, right? Perfect. So now we can download our results. See that it's here. I can click on it. Then we can download it. Very cool. Together with the timestamp, as you can see. That is something very simple that we have done so far. So we have seen how to build this wonderful app from scratch using Streamlit, pandas, and then NeatText. Now let's move on and work on the main aspect of the app, right? The home section. So this is going to be for the home, which is the option of generating a query. So instead of we going to Google to paste in this to get the result, no, we'll be fetching it from Google. And look at, we will just copy this one. So the basic thing I realized, if I change this one to this, to doctor, right? Doctors, right? You can see that this place is, let me copy this one. Copy this and explain. So this is the code that Google is giving. So this is default, right? As you can see, it did not change. So this is the first one. Let's try another one. Let's use DevOps. I'll copy this one again. And then we'll compare them. So we see how it's working and how to fetch the result. So you can see that this, if I select this, Control F, that just selected twice, right? So this and this are the same, right? And then even this one is still the same, right? You can see that this is the same. If I click on this cross-site, whatever, I don't know, I think it's cross-site something, the same. So this from here, it is the same for all of them, right? So let's see again another thing. You can also see that there's a kill here, right? So this kill is the query and the same here, but what is changing is the doctors, right? So this thing is what it's being changed, right? Very cool. And then so we'll just be picking this one because this is the same thing for all of them. I'll copy this, then I'll have to add this kill to it, this query, right? So this is the code behind the scene that is going to work. Then I'll paste in whatever I want to do, whatever test I want to do. Then in case I also want numbers, I'll just go with num specify as 100, right? So that is the code. So this is the base code we're using to help us get our result, right? So we'll just copy this one, be using it in our app in the next session. So let's see how to work on that in the next session. Alright, so welcome back. So in this particular session, we'll be trying to see how to generate the query using request and then fetch these things like we have been doing, right? So if I understood the concept of how the query is operated, how Google searches with the query, this is the base one which is constant for all of them, and then there is a kill, which is the query that we have seen, this particular kill here, right? Where is it? This one, right? So we created a base URL that you'll be using to help us search our stuff. So I'll go back to the app itself. I'm going to create a function to help us with that. So let's create a function. So this is going to be a function to fetch result. So instead of we going to Google to fetch, we'll use this function to help us with that. So let's call this function as def.fetch query. Fetch.query, right? Perfect. Then from here, I'm just going to go with my base query. So base URL, I said base query. And as we saw from our deconstruction, this is the base query, right? So I'll copy this stuff here. This is going to be our base query. I'll be using this option here. Perfect. And then this is where it will be changing, right? Perfect. Just go to .format. Now pass in the query that the person supplies. So let's create it here as my query. The argument is query, right? And it's going to be used to construct a new query. Very nice. Then I'm using request to help us with that. So let's go with request. get, and pass in the base URL that you have created, right? Then now I can return the result.test, right? Perfect. So this is a simple function you have created to help us with that. So let's test this function. I'll copy this function here, go back to my terminal, import request. Request is now part of the standard library, so we don't need to install it, right? So this is a simple function. So if I go with fetch, let's create a URL. Oh, let's go straight away with this. So my fetch f, let's go as f fetch query. I'll pass in my test. So let's put a test, like let's say DevOps, right? It's going to go to Google. You have to make sure that you have internet. If I go with this, now we have all of this test there, right? Cool. Right, so this is the same result. This result here is the same result that we would have gotten from here, right? In case we search for this option, right? That is the same result you would have gotten, right? Same thing. That is what you are getting from here, right? So we'll be trying to use NeatText to help us extract the relevant information from it, right? So let's go back to the app itself and apply this particular function on it. So it's better we cache it. So let's use st.cache to help us with that. Okay, so this is a function we'll be using to help us get our request, right? So I'll apply this particular function in our home session. So let's go back again. So this is going to be the home option. Then let's create the option of pasting in a test. So we need a place to paste in our test. So I'll call it as my test. Let's first of all call it as, let's give it an option, right? Whereby you can put in the search test. So search test, right? Which is going to be the query we are passing. st.test input. We are using a test input, not a query, not a test area. Now passing the particular start I want to do, right? Which is going to be paste term here, right? So let's save it and see. I go back to the app itself, to the home session. So we have it here, so I can actually paste in a test here, right? Very nice. So we have to give the option of, as we were searching by this option, initially we searched by the term plus the country and then plus the email, right? So we'll be picking a list of all countries and a list of all format of email, right, together to create that particular option. So I'll come back and add those features here. So it's going to be this option. You have one place in which you can paste in a test. Then this is going to be another option of, let's call it as my, so let me paste in the email. I have a list of all the countries here, right? All the list of countries and then their email extensions and different email extensions. So I'll be posting this list here, right? So that we have the countries list and then the email extension. Then we're going to create the country option. So country name, then st.sidebar.select box, right? Now pass in my countries list. So this is going to be country, then the country list, right? So this is going to be the list we're using. So if I save it and I come back to the app itself, we have the option of seeing the countries list, right? By default, it's going to pick Afghanistan, which is going to be by default. So I prefer to actually add it to it. You can leave it like that. You can add the default. Then let's create another one for the email list. So email type, which is going to be st.sidebar.select box. I'll pass in the email type, right? So email type. So we have different types of email, as you know, like email extension, which is going to be email type. That is the next option. So let's save it. And if I check it back again, our app is working as expected. So we have it here. So email type reference before assignment. So we have to finish this one out. It's supposed to be email list, email extensions list, right? So that we have it here. So we have the one for the email type and then for the countries. So the next one is to give the option of specifying which type of activity you want to do. Do you want to get emails? Do you want to get phone numbers? Do you want to get URLs, right? So we'll be working on that one here. So just as we did above, we have gotten this one. That's going to be our task options. So I'll just use the same thing that we did above here. So I'll go back and copy these ones, the same thing we did. I'll copy the same thing because the same code we're using. Even I think we can even copy this one too. But let's first of all make it simple for everybody. So I'll copy this one first, and repeat the same thing for the bulk here. Right, so if I go back and I check it now, we have that these three functions there, right? Very nice. So let's see how to work on the term. So the term is that we have the query is this term, the country, and then the URL, right? The email type. So I'll come back here, then inside the app I'll just build that particular format. So this is going to be the format that we are using. So let's create a simple query format. So let's go to the generated query that we need, which is going to be using f-string. Let's use f-string to help us with that. Can make it like this. Then this is going to take this option. So let me make it like this, right? It's going to take the first option, which is a term that is being supplied, which is going to be my search test, right? That's the first thing, plus the next one, which is going to be the country, right? Then the next one is going to be the email type. So email at, that's arroba, then the email type, which is going to be email type, right? So this is going to generate a simple query for us. Very cool and very nice. So this particular query is what we'll be using. Then I can actually bring that particular query out. So st.info, then I'll call it as generated query that is being searched for is going to be this option. Not format my generated query. Apologies for the noise you'll be hearing behind. So if I come back to the app itself, you can see that we have it here, right? So if I select something, so let's select, let's say nurses, right? If I select nurses, it's going to be generated here. So nurses plus Afrikanistan plus Gmail, right? If I change this one from this one to, let's say AOL, it's going to automatically change it here, right? Very cool and very nice. We can actually add a button to help us with the search and extract. So let's come back again and add a button to it. So I'll add the button. So if st.button, so this button is going to be, let's say search and then extract, right? Button. So it's going to search for that particular query and then give us our result. So if my generated query is not none, right? If it's not none, I want you to apply these functions to it. So we're going to create a test variable, then you use this fetch query function to you search for this particular generated query, right? Let me put it here. Perfect. Then now let's go with st.write to see that test itself that has been generated. So I come back again to the app. So we have the button here, so search and extract. So if I go with search and extract, it's going to go using request behind the scene. It's that request is not defined, so we have to import request because we forgot to import request at the top of our file. So this is going to be here, import request. So we're using request to help us with that. If I go back and I check it again, search and extract, so it's running the function, just going to return a result, right? So this is all the HTML that you would have gotten from that. Now we have to use NeatText to help us extract the result, right? So let's see how to do that. So I'll go back again, then I'll just apply the same function we did above for the bulk extractor. We are using the same function, this same thing, right? The same thing on it. So I'm going to repeat the same thing. I'll copy this entire stuff and repeat it because it's going to give us the same result. Go back because the same thing we are doing. I'll come back again here, paste it here, right? So it's going to be using this particular option, the task mapper, the functions, then all the result, and then this one. So if I save it, this is very simple, right? So everything is working as expected. If I go with extract, this is the original one. If I go down here, all of these things is coming from our result. All of this JavaScript and HTML stuff. If I go down, we have the result here, right? So it's better I hide these ones. So these are result. And if I add another one to it, it's also going to give us the same thing. So let's hide this result. So I can just hide the raw result. We don't need to show it to the people. Then we have a bit expander for this. So we have the one here. If I do it again, it's going to give us the option of getting the email, right? The result, and then the data frame as we did above, right? So let's add another one to it. You see how building the app in a simple approach makes it easy for us. So extract again, Then we have it here, right? So these are all the URLs. Very cool. And this is going to be the data frame, right? Very nice. And we can actually download it because you're using the same function there, right? Very simple and very cool. So that is the basic understanding behind this app. So what we did in the search option is that we just created a list option for the countries, the emails, the country name, right? The country name and everything, right? These are basic stuff we have been doing over. Then we generated a query. Then we passed the generated query, right, into our function fetch query, which is using request behind the scene, right? So we're just passing it here into Google search. Then the result was returned as a test. Then we use NeatText over this particular function, right? So we are just looping through our tags. So if the tag is inside the text option, pick the particular function, respective function, and then run it and then give us our result here, right? Very cool and very nice. So that is something very simple. You can actually make it beautiful in a different way. So thank you for watching this long tutorial. In case you have any question or contribution, you can just put it inside the comment section below, and please don't forget to subscribe. See you another time. So you can actually make this one in a different way, like put it under a beta expander like this, right, if you want. So before we move on, let's go back and then add some beautification to the home option. So we have finished with the app. We have seen how to do this. We have seen how to do this. So let's add some beautification to the home section because this is too plain. So I'll go back to the app itself and then you add some beautification to it. So I'll come back here. Then instead of this option of st.title, you can call this one as email extractor app, right? Build your streamlit, and we're going to come here. So perfect. So we want to use a color. So we're trying to use Google color. As you can see, if I go back and I search it, this is a color that Google gives, right? So I want to use something like this. So how do we do that? So we're using HTML to help us with that. So I'll come back to the top of my file and I'll copy and paste the code and explain it, right, to make it simple for us. So let's work on this. This is going to be beautification. So we're using HTML to help us with that. So let me paste the code to save us time. So before I paste in the code, I want to show you what I mean. So let's create a simple custom, let's say custom banner, right? So this is using HTML. We're using HTML to help us with that. So this is going to be div. Then I'll just create something like, let's say, a span, the style, give it a color. So color, let's give it a color of, let's say, red, right? Now close it. Right, so something like that. So if I want to preview this one, I can just go back and do stc.html, passing my custom banner. If I save it and I come back here, it's going to print the E with that particular color, right? So we have gotten the E as a color. We can also add the style to it. So let's add the font size. So let's make it like, let's say, 30 pixels. If I check it back, it's going to increase the font size 30 pixels, right? So that's what we're trying to do. So we're using the same thing to help us get the E. So in case I want to get for the M, I can also repeat the same thing here. So let's make it this way. Repeat this one here. So span, style, color. So let's give it, let's say, color blue. And I'll give it the same thing we did. So font size 30 pixels. Then this is going to be so this idea I got from Brad Travis's channel, right? Okay, so if I save it now, you see that we're going to have the E and then the M with different colors, right? So we'll be trying to use that same idea to build the entire stuff to make it look nicer instead of this, right? So let me paste in the code to use it. So this is it. So I'm just creating the same thing I showed you here. The same thing here, right? This is the same thing that I'm using for this, right? So we have given them different colors for all of them. We have added some border, some background color of white, and some padding, and some line around it. So this is a code that's going to be available. You can actually use it if you want, right? So let me take off this, and then let's change this one to custom title, right? So I save it now, and I come back and I check it out. voila, it's coming. So that is something very cool we have done. So thank you for watching this tutorial. So the basic idea behind all that we built was that we had a simple app that had 2 sections, one in which you can copy and paste in a text. Then when you paste inside the text, we'll be using NeatText behind the scene to extract emails and the rest, and then we got our result using CSV, right? Pandas. And we did the same thing for generating query using request. So thank you for watching. That's the basic understanding, right? So thank you for watching this long tutorial. In case you have any question or contribution, you can just put it in the comment section below, and please don't forget to subscribe and check the link below for more. So this has been a long tutorial. So in another session, we're trying to see how to work on the logs aspect of the app. See you another time. Stay blessed.